Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also. And two, back today with another 2018 college football team preview. Jumping back into the SEC today with a team that a lot of people have been requesting, especially lately. I got a lot of requests for this team in the comment section, emails, Twitters, on Facebook, everywhere. But I'm doing this video today because it was recently requested by Patreon member Robert and Brittany G. So this is for you and everyone else who's excited for a Florida Gators preview. Subscribe to the Uncle Lou channel if you're not already. I post college football videos almost every single day of the year. Give this video a thumbs up if you're a Gators fan. Share it with your friends, or if you're just excited about the start of college football season, thumbs up this video. I would appreciate it. New month today, August 1st. So good luck to everybody that's entered in the jersey giveaway for the month of July. We're going to give that away Monday on the live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you want to get in the contest for this month's jersey giveaway, just click the first link in the description of this video that says support the channel and win a jersey. That'll take you over to the Uncle Lou Patreon page. Get yourself signed up. You'll be entered to win a jersey. We give one away every single month. The next winner could be you, but you have to sign up on the Patreon page. Okay, without any further ado, let's get started with today's preview, the 2018 Florida Gators.
Go Gators! Yeah, yeah. 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 Go Gators. Lou, sick of hearing about this bookie, Lou. Sick of it. Sick of hearing about this bookie. Discounted cars, bookies, frying pans, rocks, airsoft BB guns. Sick of hearing about it, Lou. Sick of it.
Well, give them a Go Gators then.
Sick of it. Go Gators. Let me tell you something. Don't doubt my Florida Gators. Don't doubt them. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Dan Mullen. Guess what, Lou?
What, man? I don't know.
I said, guess what, Lou?
Go Gators?
Yeah, go Gators. But guess what?
I don't know. Just tell them.
Dan Mullen is a Florida man.
All right, now here we go. The 2018 Florida Gators football team preview and predictions. We're going to go game by game through the schedule. First, I'll talk about 2017, wrap it up, see what we're looking like or what Florida's looking like for 2018, and then we'll go through the schedule game by game. I'll give you a winner or a loser for every single game. We'll try to figure out what Florida's overall record might be this season. Of course, that was Natty Back Steve there making an appearance for you. A huge Florida fan. If you don't know who that is, he's one of the super fans that tends to pop in from time to time around here on LouTube, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a whole lot more of him during the season. Of course, he's very busy. He works at a roadside fireworks stand just outside of Gainesville, underneath an interstate bridge, right behind a liquor store. So a lot of you Florida fans may know him already. But anyway, enough about him. He's a nuisance and an annoyance, really. Florida 2017, a year to forget. I mean, let's just be real. A 4-win season, 4-7, one game canceled due to weather. Not going to even talk about that because people get way too mad when I do. I don't feel like making people mad today. But 4-7, McElwain's fired, right? Death threats, real or not. I'll leave that up to the viewer's imagination. They finished 5th in the East behind, of course, Georgia, South Carolina, Missouri, and Kentucky even. So a terrible year by any standard. Of course, Florida, no stranger to 4-win seasons. This is actually their second 4-win season in the last 5 years. Of course, Will Muschamp had a 4-win season on his way out the door down in Gainesville, too. McElwain fired after his 3rd year. Wins the East his first 2 years with really average teams. The East was really, really bad in 15 and 16 when McElwain won the East before showing up in Atlanta and getting absolutely road graded twice in a row in the SEC championship game. Really rode Will Muschamp's defense to those 2 SEC East titles. No offense at all in Gainesville over the last 3 or 4 years, and it hasn't seemed to matter who the coach is, really. Going all the way back to probably 2009 was the last time Florida had what anybody would even consider to be a decent offense. They haven't had a quarterback with more than 16 touchdowns in a season since 2009. How is that possible in the game of football in 2018? I don't know. Everybody loves to throw the ball now. You add in the fact that everybody likes to get these runaround quarterbacks. How is it possible you've been almost a decade without a single quarterback hitting the 16 touchdown mark? That's absolutely embarrassing and sad. Of course, you bring in Dan Mullen. He is a Florida man. Worked at Florida up under Urban Meyer during a couple of national title runs with the aforementioned Timothy Tebow. And some other quarterbacks too. Known as a kind of a quarterback guy, of course, put Dak Prescott into the NFL, current quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Nick Fitzgerald, considered by most people to be a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the SEC at Mississippi State, recruited and groomed by Mullen. He's got 1 year left. We'll talk about that in a minute when we get to the Florida-Mississippi State game. But so it's no secret, right, what Dan Mullen's going to be looking to do in Gainesville. It's no secret why he was hired. It's no secret what the fans want. It's no secret what the admin wants down there. They want offense. Florida is sick and tired of seasons going by averaging 22, 23, 24 points a game. They're sick of it. You look back at the heyday of Steve Spurrier and even on into Urban Meyer, the air raid offenses that Florida had, putting up 35, 45, in some cases 50 points a game, moving up and down the field almost at will, it seemed like, for about a 10 to 12 year period, stretching from Spurrier's last 8-9 years into the Urban Meyer reign at Florida, before his fake heart condition ran him to Columbus. So it's no secret what Dan Mullen's going to want to do. Can he do it? Potentially. I don't think he can do it this year, at least not with the current quarterback situation at Florida. This is no secret. If you've been following me for any amount of time at all, you pretty much know my overall thoughts on Florida. I think they're probably the second most talented team in the East overall, but their quarterback play has been absolutely abysmal, really going on a decade now. Right now, they really don't have what I would consider to be any real answers at the quarterback situation either. It looks like it's going to come down to either Kyle Trask or Felipe Franks. Both these guys got some looks last year. Neither impressed. Felipe Franks threw a ton of interceptions. I had to write this down. How many interceptions he threw? 8 interceptions, sacked 29 times. Trask, not a whole lot better. Now, Trask is a better passer. I don't think anyone would argue that. Trask is a better passer than Felipe Franks. Felipe Franks, of course, way more athletic and mobile. I would think, Dan Mullen's going to go with the more mobile of the two and sacrifice a little bit on the arm. If you look at the history of quarterbacks he had at Mississippi State, even going back to Tim Tebow at Florida, arm, not the most important thing for a Dan Mullen quarterback. Got to be able to run around. So my money right now, I think Felipe Franks gets to start. I know they have Emory Jones down there. I don't think he's ready to come in and play year one. A few Florida fans disagree with me. That's fine, and we'll see. Maybe Dan Mullen will roll the dice and play him. Of course, you can play up to 4 games now in a season without burning a red shirt. So once we get into Florida's schedule, we'll see if there's an opportunity for Emory Jones to get some game time experience without blowing a game and without burning his red shirt by playing the whole season. We'll see what that looks like when we get to it. At running back, great news if you're a Florida fan, you get Jordan Scarlett back. He's done with his crime spree, whatever he was doing down there with the stolen credit card, suspended all last year. He's back. Pretty good running back. Alongside him, you got LaMichael Pirine and, of course, Adarius, is it Lemons? I can't remember his last name. He's like your home run hitter type of guy, right, at running back. So you actually, your running backs are okay. Are they elite? I don't know if I would put them in the elite category. We really haven't seen them play at an elite level yet. Do they have the potential to be really, really good? Yes. And I think running back is going to be one of the strong points of Florida's team this year, especially given the shaky quarterback situation. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Florida rely heavily on the run game this year with those three guys. Wide receiver, a couple of guys back, Cleveland and Tony. They're injury prone, but they seem to be okay right now. We'll see if they can make it through fall camp without any hiccups. I hope they do. I hate injuries anytime they happen, but off-season and then especially preseason injuries leading up to the start of the season are the absolute worst. I can't stand them. You bring in, you got a couple of transfers too. Are they going to let these guys play? Van Jefferson, I think, got cleared from Ole Miss, right? Because they got hit with NCAA sanctions, so he shouldn't have had to sit out a year. I'm pretty sure he's already been cleared, Van Jefferson. And then you got another guy, I can't remember his name. He applied for the hardship waiver. I don't think he got approved to play immediately. I may be wrong, and a Florida fan could let me know. But those are two guys I think you need and can help you immediately if they can play. Obviously, I think Jefferson will be there. So your wide receivers, again, I think a lot of potential there. I don't know who's going to throw them the ball, but I like what you have at wide receiver. Offensive line, weak link on that offense, and I don't want to hear anybody argue with me about that either. Florida's offensive line has been absolutely terrible, really, for the last 2 years. Now, you get 5 starters back from your offensive line last year. The problem is that offensive line is not very good. Now, we'll see. Mullen's going to change the scheme up. Maybe that benefits them. Maybe new motivation with having a new coaching staff in there and opening up some competition there along the line. Maybe that helps them. I don't know. But Florida's offensive line would have to take a huge leap forward, in my opinion, for Florida to really be given a legitimate shot in November or whatever of this year at winning the SEC East, which of course is every SEC East team initial goal. You got to win the East. I have huge question marks there on the offensive line, and that's another reason why I really think Dan Mullen ends up going with Felipe Franks. I'm not sure Mullen's going to trust that offensive line, and I think he would prefer to have a guy that can scramble around a little bit and get loose back there in case the blocking breaks down along that offensive line. We'll see. Your defense, of course, you've been living off defense really, even 07, 08, 09 when you had Tebow, you had an elite defense. Really going from 2007 really up until not last year, but the year before, 2016, an elite defense almost every single year. It was a funnel into the NFL for a lot of guys, especially along the defensive line and the secondary. Elite defense, shutting teams down. I mentioned you won the East 2 years in a row, averaging 22 points a game on offense. You can't do that without an elite defense, and that's what Florida had, of course, bolstered under Will Muschamp, known for his defensive mind, play calling, longtime defensive coordinator, considered, regardless of what you think of him as a head coach, Florida fans, you have to admit, Will Muschamp set you guys up on the defensive side of the ball, without question. Problem is, a lot of those guys are gone. McElwain did not backfill at the same level in terms of overall talent that was there before, and don't tell me that he did. Florida hasn't had a top 10 recruiting class in 4 years. Okay, so you do not have the talent on defense today that you had 2, 3, 4, and 5 years ago. You just don't have it. It's not there. Last year was the first time since 2007 Florida's defense finished outside the top 15 nationally in total defense. I tried to tell Florida fans that heading into last season. No one wanted to listen. When you see the results on the field, now you're like, oh, suddenly Lou knew what he's talking about. I think defense is going to be a little bit of a struggle again this year, although you do have a lot of playmakers over there, and we'll talk about some of them now. Your strength of your defense, in my opinion, defensive line and corner. You may have the best corner combo in the SEC. I do think there are 1, maybe 2 corners in the SEC who are better than any of the corners on Florida's team. But as a duo, I think Florida may have the best corner duo in the SEC. And your defensive line is absolutely elite. You got some animals up there. You're switching defensive schemes around from a 4-3 to a 3-4. We'll see if that has any effect, if that takes a few weeks to take hold or whatever. But you've definitely got the bodies and the athletes to play that scheme on defense. And I think that'll be a benefit for Florida. The weakness on defense is going to be linebacker. You had one linebacker last year. I wrote his name down, Reese. He had 102 tackles. The rest of your linebackers combined only had 125. So you're going to have a couple of guys step up at the linebacker position on defense. All right, week 1, Charleston Southern. Great timing here for this game, isn't it? This is a perfect year to play one of these quote-unquote cupcake teams week 1, right? Who'd you play last year week 1? Michigan? How bad would they beat you week 1 this year? It wouldn't be pretty. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, how they beat you blind last year. This is a perfect year for Florida to be starting out with a team like this. Anytime you got questions heading into the season about your quarterback or new coaches or installing new schemes on offense or whatever, you'd love to have one of these type of games week 1 to sort of give you an opportunity to see what your team looks like in live action and work out some of the bugs and kinks or whatever on the fly against a far inferior team, which is what Charleston Southern is. Florida will get the win in this game without a problem. I think you'll see 3 quarterbacks in this game. I think you'll see Franks, I think you'll see Trask, and I think you'll even see Emory Jones. Got to keep in mind and remember, Emory Jones can play in up to 4 games this year without burning his red shirt. I fully expect Emory Jones to play in at least those 4 games, if not more, depending on how the season goes. But no point in spending a lot of time on Charleston Southern. It's at home. They're way below you in terms of talent and everything else. You'll get the win. You start off 1-0. Week 2, home, Kentucky Wildcats. I said after the game last year against Florida and Kentucky, I would never pick Kentucky to beat Florida ever again until they do. It's been 30-something years. Kentucky can't beat Florida. You look at last year, Kentucky was the better coach team. Kentucky played the better game. Kentucky looked more prepared. Kentucky wanted it more. It was at home. Kentucky was dominating. Kentucky was winning late into the 4th quarter. What does Kentucky do? They send 10 men out on defense multiple times in that game, not even putting anybody on wide receiver, leaving wide receivers wide open on the sideline with no one covering them for just give me touchdowns to Florida, and Kentucky blew the game. That was your golden opportunity, Kentucky. I went over this ad infinitum last season when I laughed at you for trying some kind of newfangled defensive scheme where you try to confuse the offense by only putting 10 men out there multiple times. Didn't work. You lost. Never picking Kentucky again in the Kentucky-Florida game until I'm proven wrong. This could be a close game, especially if Kentucky can slow the game down with Benny Snell and their running attack, which is what they're going to look to do. Of course, Benny Snell, been at Kentucky for a while now. Or actually, was he a freshman? Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's been there. Last year might have been his first year. He's either a sophomore or junior, but he's a good running back. Been there for a while. He's going to have over 1,000 yards this year. He's going to be the leader of that offense. Kentucky's got some quarterback issues. I think they brought a transfer in. We'll see what they decide to do there. This is early in the season. They could still be working their offense out at this point too, but I'm never picking them to beat you no matter what, so you start out 2-0. Week 3, home, Colorado State against the Fighting Mike Bobos. Of course, Mike Bobo, former offensive coordinator at the University of Georgia under Mark Richt for about 10 years. Set some records in the SEC in terms of points and things like that. This guy scoring 40 points a game against SEC defenses at a time when SEC was at its height. Leaves for the head coach job at Colorado State. The same time McElwain left Colorado State to go to Florida. McElwain had elevated Colorado State to a 9-10 win program. Bobo gets there and immediately drags them back down to a 5-6-7 win team. Hasn't been impressive at Colorado State. Not trying to knock Mike Bobo. Obviously, he's a Georgia legend at the quarterback position, and like I mentioned, a former OC, so I don't have any hate for the guy. But the point is, he's been underwhelming to say the least as head coach of Colorado State. No reason he should be able to travel all the way from Colorado to Gainesville, Florida, and beat a team with Florida's talent. I'm giving Florida the win there. Florida starts out 3-0, 1 win away from their total from last season. Now it gets interesting here for the Gators. These next 3 games, at Tennessee, at Mississippi State, and home against LSU. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, technically, I have all 3 of these games marked as toss-ups. It would not completely shock me if you won all 3. It would not completely shock me if you lost all 3. So technically, I have all 3 of these listed as toss-up games for the purpose of how I do these videos. Of course, I've already done the Tennessee 2018 team previews. So for those of you who have seen that, you know which way I go on this Florida at Tennessee game, so I'm not going to drag this out. I'm going to go ahead and just tell you now, Florida, I have you winning this game at Tennessee. But, and this is a big but, and I don't normally go back. Once I make these official prediction videos every July and August heading into the preseason, I normally don't go back and try to change what I said before the season starts. Now, obviously, sometimes I change during the season when I see how obviously wrong I was on some teams. But last year, Florida, Michigan, all offseason, I had Florida picked to win that game. I argued with Michigan fans for 6 months leading up to the start of college football season last year. 2 weeks before the season starts, 15% of your team gets felony credit card charges and it's suspended for the entire year. You trot half a team out there. And I ended up changing my pick on that game before the season started, which I normally don't do because I just saw no way Florida was going to beat Michigan, missing all those players. And of course, Uncle Lou was right. You got humiliated. That wasn't the first time, or that wasn't the last time you were to be humiliated last year. But anyway, the point is, you got a lot of smoke coming out of Gainesville right now. I mean, you guys got some serious issues. This isn't a trash talk video. See yesterday's video if you want to watch that, or see what an Uncle Lou trash talk video might look like. But I mean, you've got the off the field issues are still there. You got a guy caught with a loaded rifle in his car. You got the 8-9 players running around with frying pans, rocks, and BB guns. You got this bookie, Wang Tay. There's accusations of discounted cars being given or quote unquote sold to certain players. There's just a lot of things going on down there. Uncertainty at the quarterback position. Again, heading into the season, of course, new coaching staff. The fans are up in arms regardless of what they try to tell you in my comment section. I go over to the Florida Gators 24/7 message boards on 24/7 and the Florida Facebook groups and things like that. And there's Florida fans who are this close to turning their back on Dan Mullen already. Then you look at his recruiting. There is no recruiting. He's sitting at like 39th in recruiting. The guy can't get any recruits to come down there. The players that have, if you were to take all the players that have decommitted from Florida's 2019 class, that would be a higher ranked class than Florida's current commits for 2019. On top of that, Mississippi State is sitting in top 20 at recruiting. Now, I know it's July. You got about 5 months to go before the early signing day in December. But the point is, there's a lot of bad signs coming out of Gainesville right now. Now, nothing silences critics and naysayers like winning football games on Saturday. So if Florida comes out and starts 3-0 like I have them here and then gets to win at Tennessee, a lot of that will go away, okay? And I have you picked to win this game at Tennessee. I picked this game about a week or two ago before a lot of this nonsense came out at Gainesville. But I'm just telling you now, I'm this close. If I hear of any more issues down there, I may go back and swap this to a Tennessee win, which would be the most embarrassing loss in all of college football this year. Of course, Tennessee was 0-8 in the SEC last year. They've lost 9 straight SEC games going back to 2016, and they have a current losing streak to all 13 other SEC teams. In other words, every single team in the SEC beat Tennessee the last time they played them, all 13. Nobody wants to be the first team to give Tennessee that SEC win, but if you keep going down the road you're going now, players getting in trouble, making the news for all the wrong reasons, if you get players suspended, if anything like that happens heading into this Tennessee game or between now and this Tennessee game, I may flip my pick. But for now, I'm going with the Gators, and I got you guys on a roll at 4-0. Now, week 5 at Mississippi State. One of the games that I'm looking forward to the most in all of college football this year, and I've made no secret about this either. I think Mississippi State is a better team right now than Florida is. I just do. I think they're way more settled and talented, honestly, at the quarterback position than Florida is. If you look at the win totals over the last couple of years, Mississippi State has done better against better competition in the West than Florida has done against weaker competition in the East. Even though they've got a first-year head coach in Moorhead over there, I like what he's doing there. His recruiting is on a roll. Things are pointing up in Starkville, whereas a lot of things are pointing down in Gainesville. This is going to be the funniest loss other than Tennessee's first win, whoever that happens to be against. This is going to be the funniest loss in the SEC this year outside of Tennessee's first conference win. Florida's going to go on the road, and you're going to get beat down by Mississippi State. That's just how I see this game playing out. You have to go there, way too much cowbell. Mississippi State, you know they've got this game circled. Dan Mullen leaves them high and dry, heads back home to Florida. I just don't think this game is going to work out well for Florida, and expect a whole lot of people to be pointing and laughing at the University of Florida and Dan Mullen when he loses this game on the road at Mississippi State. Then you come back home and play LSU. This has been one of the toughest games for me to pick over the last couple of years because neither Florida or LSU has been what anyone would term to be elite, I don't think. Most years, though, they've been good, right? Some years a little more than good. But this game just seems like it's close a lot. And a lot of times the team that you don't think is going to win ends up winning. It's really been hard to figure out, right? This game is in Gainesville. Obviously that helps Florida. Very tough to win in Tiger Stadium at Death Valley in Baton Rouge. This is a really tough game here. Two defenses that are okay. Two offenses that have been looking for a quarterback since Jimmy originally cracked corn, however many years ago that was. I think Florida wins. This is a tough one to pick. Maybe LSU wins. I'm going to give Florida the win at home over LSU. The more I think about it, I'm just going to flip-flop back and forth 100 times. I could easily be wrong on that game. To me, this game is a coin flip right now. On the road at Vandy, win. I've done a Vandy preview. I think they take a step back, 3 steps back this year. I don't think they're going to be a good team at all. I think they're going to hover around the 3 or 4 win mark this year. No chance of bowl eligibility for them. You have to play them there. No such thing as a home field advantage at Vanderbilt. It'd be about 19,000 people there. It's more people at a high school football game on a Friday night in Georgia, and to be at this Vandy game, you'll win. So, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6-1. Somebody will find a way to be mad, but I have you at 6-1 there heading into your bye week. Come out of your bye week, you play Georgia. I've done the Georgia preview. Obviously, I'm a Georgia fan. I don't think you're winning that game this year. I just don't think you're going to do it. You can call me a homer, call me whatever you want. Georgia will be favored in that game, so it's got nothing to do with me being a homer. Most people that can fog a mirror think Georgia is just a better team right now. I've got Georgia winning that game. Do I think it'll be a 42-7 type thing like it was last year? Probably not, but I think Georgia wins fairly comfortably, couple of scores type of thing. Another home game against Mizzou. This is a toss-up game here. Mizzou put up 1 million points on Florida last year. Now, at that point, it all was lost for Florida at that point. They had pretty much given up. So I don't put too much into last year's game in terms of trying to project what that might mean for this year. But I do know that Drew Lock is an elite passer. Is probably going to throw for over 4,000 yards this year, 40 passes a game. If Mizzou can do anything on defense this season, they could win 8 games, in my opinion. They won a lot of games the back half of the season last year. I think they started out something like 1-5 before winning their last 6 games or something and finishing 6-6 and making a bowl. I'm probably off by a game or 2 there, but it's something like that. Lost to Texas in the bowl game. But anyway, they're a dangerous team, and if they get rolling on offense, they can put up a lot of points. I have this as a toss-up. Then you get South Carolina at home, toss-up. Most people have South Carolina to peg to finish second. Some have them picked to finish third in the SEC East. South Carolina fans, a lot of them think they have a chance to win the East. Of course, a lot of Florida fans think that too. I do think those are the 3 best teams in the East, probably Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. You get them at home, which is a benefit for you. They've got Jake Bentley. He's been there for a while now, so they don't have the quarterback issues that Florida has. They like their running backs. They return a lot on their offensive line. Of course, Deebo Samuel back and healthy this year, one of the best wide receivers in the SEC. Defense, talented but not very deep. Will Muschamp always going to have a defense ready to play, though. I have that as a toss-up. Idaho at home, win. Idaho, literally a potato. You'll beat them without a problem. On the road at FSU, I'm going to do you a favor and list that as a toss-up game. So that leaves you with, I've got you losing to Mississippi State, beating everybody else until you get to Georgia, and then losing to Georgia. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-2 after you play Georgia. Here's what I'm going to tell you about Missouri and South Carolina. I think you beat one of those teams. I think you beat one of them. You can choose if you want. I don't really care. For the sake of video, and I have to pick a winner or a loser, I'm going to say you beat Missouri and then turn around and lose to South Carolina. So what's that got you at? 7-3. You beat Idaho, 8-3. Florida State, I think Florida State beats you, okay? And you finish 8-4. You could beat Florida State. Now, they're installing a whole new offense over there, too. They've got some question marks at the quarterback position, too, although the quarterbacks they have coming back and are choosing between Francois and Blackman have experience, and both have, in my opinion, have looked better and done more on the field than any quarterback Florida has coming back. Willie Taggart, Florida State swears that Willie Taggart's going to be an elite coach. I have some question marks about him, but of course I have some questions about Dan Mullen too. I mean, there's a reason Dan Mullen has the worst record against ranked teams in AP poll history, and Willie Taggart doesn't. So, you know, it is what it is. I think Florida State beats you. You haven't beat them in several years. So listen, I give you automatic wins over Kentucky until they finally beat you. I gotta give Florida State automatic wins over you until you finally beat them. So that's it. I have the 2018 Florida Gators finishing 8-4. So they double their win total from last year. Now, is 8-4 the type of record that Florida fans are looking for and excited about and are going to jump down in my comment section and say, oh, yes, thank you, Uncle Lou, this is great? No, they're going to be mad. They're going to tell me I'm an idiot. It's funny how this works, right, when I do these previews. No matter what team I preview, if I have them winning a whole lot of games, 10, 11, 12, something like that, I get a bunch of comments from that fan base in the comment section telling me how smart I am, how great my previews are, and that I'm very knowledgeable. If I pick a team like Florida to go 8-4, I'm going to get a whole bunch of Florida fans in the comment section telling me I'm an idiot. I've never watched a football game. I don't have a job. Get out of my mom's basement. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm an idiot. I just hate Florida. I'm a Georgia fan. Of course I have Florida going 8-4. I'm going to get all those comments, and you know, I don't know anything about the game of football. Probably never even seen a game. I know those are coming. I mean, that's just what it is. I don't really care. If that bothered me, I wouldn't be on YouTube. So type down below, but that's what I have, 8-4. Doubled your wins from last year. So, I mean, you can't really be mad about that. I know Florida wants to win the East and go 10-2, 11-1, all this kind of stuff. I don't see it happening this year. You got to figure out the quarterback situation, in my opinion. I don't think Mullen, in order for Mullen to even have a chance to compete, in my mind, in the SEC East, he's got to have the quarterback that can do what he wants him to do. And right now, I don't think Florida has it. So that's it. I appreciate it. Don't forget, live show today at 3 p.m. Eastern, call-in show. So feel free to call in. Tell me where I'm wrong here on this Florida schedule or any of the other previews that I'm done. We'll discuss whatever you want to discuss. It's a great show. We get callers from all different fan bases from around the country, and we talk / discuss / argue everything college football. Subscribe if you're not already. Thumbs up this video, and have a great morning.